Hello friends, welcome to Risingpearl.com. Today we are talking about question number 5. How do we solve the question number 5? This is a question that appeared in 2016 CBSE Class-X Math exams that you have taken just a little while ago. So let's take a look at the question and how do we solve it. So what is given is in question number 5, if minus 5 is a root of a quadratic equation, and this is the quadratic equation. So we have been given one quadratic equation and it is said that minus 5 is the root of this quadratic equation. And there is second quadratic equation, which is this, has equal roots. So what is given is that if minus 5 is the root of the first quadratic equation, which is this, and the quadratic equation, the second quadratic equation has equal roots, find the value of k. We have to find out the value of k. So how are we going to solve it? So let's write the first quadratic equation. So 2x squared plus bx minus 15 is equal to 0. So this is the quadratic equation. Now what is given is that minus 5 is a root of this quadratic equation. So what does that mean? It means that if you put x equal to minus 5 here, our equation should hold good. Our equation should be true. That means if you put x equals minus 5 here, we should be able to have the equation will still be valid, right? So that is what it means. So if you have roots of the equation, that means they satisfy the equation. So let's replace x with minus 5 in this equation and see what happens. So instead of x we are going to put minus 5. So 2x squared minus 5 whole square, p times x is minus 5 again minus 15. Now this is equal to 0. Or this will be 2 times minus 5 times minus 5 is 25 plus 25. This will be minus 5p minus 15 equal to 0. Or we can say from here this will be 50. Let's do one thing. Let's take the minus 5p on the other side of the equality sign. So we have 50 minus 15, which is equal to 5p. This is the minus 5p, on the other side will become plus 5p, or 5p equals to this will be 35. So from here we can say that then p will be equal to 35 divided by 5, 35 divided by 5, which is going to be equal to 7. So what we have is we have found out the value of p, but we need to find out the value of k. So using the first quadratic equation we have found out the value of p. Now we are going to use this value of p in the second quadratic equation. So let's do one thing. Now let's take a look at, let's give ourselves more space. Now let's take a look at the second quadratic equation, which is this one. Let's write this quadratic equation. Now p equals to 7, we just found out, right? So we have 7 times x squared plus x plus k. This is a second quadratic equation and this is equal to 0. So let's write this in the standard form, or we can write this as 7x squared plus 7x plus k equal to 0. Now what is given is that we have this quadratic equation, and it is given that this quadratic equation has equal roots. Now if you would recall, equal roots happen in a quadratic equation when and only when the discriminant is equal to 0. Now what is a discriminant? So if we were to compare this with a standard form of writing quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So the a will be equal to this, b will be equal to this, and c will be equal to k. Now discriminant is nothing but it is b squared minus 4ac. This value should be equal to 0. So what is b squared? So b is equal to 7. So it will be 7 squared minus 4. What is a? A is 7. And what is c? C is equal to k. So this is equal to 0. Or from here we can say this will be 49 minus 28k is equal to 0, or we can say from here, so 28k will be equal to 49 or k will be equal to 49 divided by 28. Obviously we can have 7 as a common factor. 7 sevens are 49 and 7 fours are 28. So the value of k is equal to 7 divided by 4. So like we always do, let's find out if this were to be in your test, how you would like to actually write this question. How are you going to answer this question? So you're going to start out by saying if minus 5 is the root of the quadratic equation, then x equals minus 5, right? This one should satisfy the given quadratic equation. Or in other words, you are going to, so 2x squared plus px minus 5 equals 0. So instead of x, we are going to replace x with minus 5. And when you do that, you get p equals 7, like we have seen just now. Now, it is given that the quadratic equation, now we're talking about the second quadratic equation, has equal roots, right? Now, second quadratic equation has equal roots, so substituting p equals 7 above. So we are trying to rewrite the quadratic equation. So substituting p equals 7, because we just saw p is equal to 7. So we get this is a new quadratic equation, or we are rewriting our second quadratic equation in this fashion, right? Now, we know that in order to have equal roots, the discriminant must be equal to 0. The discriminant should be equal to 0. In other words, discriminant is nothing but b square minus 4ac for ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. That means if you were to write the quadratic equation in a standard form, ax square plus bx plus c equals 0, then discriminant is given as b square minus 4ac. So if we just put the appropriate values, so discriminant for our quadratic equation, this will be d equals 7 square minus 4 times 7 times k, or 49 minus 28k. So when we solve this, we get k equals 7 by 4. So this will be the answer. This is going to be the value of k. So this will be the answer for our fifth question.